World Action Center, the Net Zero World Action Center, as well as the International Atomic Energy Agency, about their organization's goals and objectives, as well as their technical support capabilities they can provide to countries around the world. And again, remember, if you have questions for our two speakers, please submit them using the Zoom chat function. We will ask our speakers to address your questions at the end of the session. So first, it is my honor to introduce to you Dr. Ron Benioff. Ron is the Executive Director of the Net Zero World Action Center, and he is a leading force behind this new initiative. Ron also leads international and domestic climate change and clean energy programs at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NZWAC. We're excited to have him join us today and give us an overview of the Net Zero World Initiative. So go ahead, Ron. Remember to turn your camera on and turn on your microphone and share your screen to start your presentation when you're ready.
Great. Well, thank you, Gunter, and it's a true honor to be here and to be welcoming you all to this workshop on energy system analysis and modeling of net zero pathways. And it's a pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the 10 Department of Energy laboratories that have joined forces with the US government agencies to work together with countries around the world on this vital transition to net zero energy systems. I really want to thank the participants across the countries. We're really excited about the opportunity to work with you and find out kind of how we can learn from each other, what types of analytic support the labs can provide to improve the modeling that you're doing and inform net zero pathways. A big thank you as well to the International Atomic Energy Agency for the opportunity to team and co-sponsor this event. And a huge thank you to Argonne National Laboratory, to Paul Kearns, to you, Gunter, but especially to Clarice Kim, who, as Maria said, has just done extraordinary work in organizing this workshop and in leading the design of these modeling support activities together with Nanzhou, her co-manager at Lawrence Berkeley Lab for the technical work. I will say a few words about the Net Zero World Initiative, and as Gunter said, very happy to respond to questions and learn from you how we can be of greatest value in our efforts. So the Net Zero World Initiative, as Maria DeJulian mentioned, was launched by Secretary Granholm together with Presidential Special Envoy John Kerry and with ministers from 4 countries at COP26 and with 2 other countries with the ministers confirming interest and participation in the initiative. And the initiative is about harnessing expertise across the national labs, across the 9 federal agencies, and in partnership with international institutions, the IAEA, the IEA, Stockholm Environment Institute, and many others, to work with countries, with you as leading experts on the development and implementation of net zero plans and pathways. The initiative really offers 3 forms of technical support and assistance. So one is the assistance with the development of not only the pathways towards net zero, but working with countries to translate those pathways into detailed technical and investment plans so that the analysis and the stakeholder consultations in your countries can help lead to very high fidelity plans for the infrastructure upgrades and the associated investment and project portfolios needed to decarbonize power, industry, transport, and buildings, and that we're able to work together and really figure out what are the critical projects needed, infrastructure policies, and financing. We will also provide targeted support to in-country technical institutions to help you expand your work, both technical and some modest financial support. And we look, and a third element is to collaborate with you on designing and implementing key actions that'll be critical to achieve the energy transition, ranging from policy support to work on procurements, to work on workforce development activities, pilot projects, and other activities. By the end of this year, by COP27, we hope that together we've made progress in strengthening your pathways and net zero plans that can be further showcased at a ministerial level event in Egypt. And we've started to work in a few implementation areas where we also can have immediate progress. And then to expand the cooperation in 2023, both in the modeling and analysis and the implementation plans, but also deeper support on the implementation actions that'll continue into 2024, and ultimately with a goal in 2024 to have helped you and across countries mobilized at least 10 billion of clean energy investment in priority sectors and creating jobs, clean energy jobs in your countries. This initiative shows atop here the US agencies. There's 9 US government agencies coming together to offer expertise. So in addition to the Department of Energy and its technology expertise, the State Department, USAID, and a whole set of US government financing agencies to help unlock private capital and offer a variety of different financing and investment vehicles to help de-risk investment. We're excited to be working initially with the 6 countries. We're also very pleased the US government at high diplomatic levels has invited India and South Africa to join, and we look forward to hopefully a positive response and to working with you. There's also support from a number of philanthropies that have stepped in to provide critical financing and to link with initiatives that they're undertaking to complement support from the US government, and to be working very closely with international partners, the development banks who are very keen to align their investment portfolio with the work we're doing, the German government, the UK Energy Transition Commission, the IAEA, the IEA, IRENA, and many others. This work will cover the full range of the energy system, tailored to the individual needs of the countries. And we look forward to finding out what those needs are. With the analysis of the pathways, that analysis is designed to look holistically across the energy system, and driven by you and with support and helping strengthen and identification of the least cost and highest benefit actions that can lead to rapid decarbonization and to substantial economic growth and other environmental and social benefits and an inclusive society. In the middle here, we're thrilled to show the 10 labs that are partnering on this initiative and bringing forward the best-in-class tools and experts and best practices in working on modeling and implementation and investment mobilization. And we have then the work that will occur, starting with the work on the net zero plans, but then going through a whole portfolio of actions where you and your governments are keen to receive support. I want to highlight, there's really some very unique elements of this initiative. We recognize there's many other programs that are working with countries on energy decarbonization. And we're working very closely with those programs to make sure that these efforts are complementary. The elements that we feel are unique are sort of or first and foremost, the very rigorous, high fidelity work that we'll be doing together on modeling and optimization of pathways to accelerate transitions to net zero energy systems, and translating those pathways into very detailed implementation plans that identify the technical measures, the infrastructure needed, the policies needed, and the financing, and come up with very specific identifications of not only the cost, but of the investment mechanisms that can be used, the sources of private and concessional public finance, and then linking those plans back into NDCs. We hope to be working with countries on those plans at both the national level and for a priority sub-region, a state or a city, where we can even get into more detail. And looking forward to hearing more from you about what you see as the opportunities and needs to work both at the national and subnational level. Secondly, this initiative offers holistic support across the world-class expertise of the Department of Energy labs and the US government to help work on kind of and on transformative actions that will enable countries to leapfrog to the next generation of technologies and market and business models. And we're really excited to hear more from you and from your governments. There's a kind of formal planning process happening between the US government and the lab teams and your governments to identify priorities, so that we can then couple the work on technology cooperation with the work on policy and market designs, on investment activities, and on, very importantly, on sustained workforce development to build the scientists and engineers of the future and an inclusive society working together on a just transition. And third, really exciting element of this program is not only working on the pathways and implementation measures, but from the beginning, doing analysis, identifying what are the barriers and needs and opportunities to scale up investment, and working to bringing in private investors, the multinational development banks, US government, and other international finance agencies to work together to design de-risking instruments, to work on project portfolios, to work on infrastructure upgrades, and to matchmake with available sources of financing that will ensure that this work not only leads to policy change, but most importantly, leads to a scale up of investment in your economies, creating clean energy jobs, and supporting manufacturing industries and decarbonization of economies in an inclusive and resilient manner, and designing all this in very close partnership with the other donors and international agencies that are active in this space. You know, as I noted earlier, this work will occur across multiple sectors. First, we'll have the energy system-wide perspective, looking, with you and your colleagues in each country on the analysis and then the development of pathways for optimizing and enabling a just, inclusive, and resilient transition to net zero. And then, depending on your priorities and interests in each country, we hope to have then deeper work, both deeper analytic work and implementation support in a couple key sectors and cross-cutting enabling technologies. And with some examples here of the types of actions that could be conducted, but all of this to be driven by you and by your governments in identifying what your priorities are for technical support, for implementation, and for analysis and modeling to support the design of actions. And that planning process is already underway with the governments of Argentina, Indonesia, and Nigeria, and we hope to start that planning process soon with Egypt and Chile, and then hopefully if India and South Africa join, similarly starting that planning process there as well. So here's a sort of timeline of how we see things rolling out, at least for the initial set of countries. So I'm starting now, and we're super excited that we're to have this workshop and be kicking off our collaboration with you on modeling of net zero pathways. Connecting that to stakeholder consultations and support from the lab that to start work now on the pathways, and in parallel finalizing work programs with the countries, hopefully finalizing most of the work programs in May. Some may continue into June, and then scaling up the work on the modeling and feeding that modeling into strengthening net zero pathways at hopefully both a national and a priority local level, sharing draft results at COP27, this summer and fall, starting to scale up support for a couple implementation actions and expanding the scope, and then over time, increasing support for investment mobilization. And ultimately, at the end of the day, having this work lead to pipelines of projects that are attracting investment and infrastructure upgrades that are attracting investment, along with the capacity building programs that happen in parallel. And this is just an overview of kind of our structure. Some of this is still to be finalized. We hope to have a ministerial level group that meets once a year, at the COPs, for example, some ministers from your countries together with the US, some form of a steering committee that has participation internationally. And we have an ongoing team across the US government agencies that's providing ongoing oversight. We have the Action Center with 5 labs managing the Action Center and accessing expertise across all 10. I'm really excited to have Nanzhou and Clarice Kim leading our technical programs, including support to you on energy system analysis, and Meredith Evans and Sadie Cox leading the country programs. And we'll introduce the country coordinators in a minute. And the investment advisory service, also working with countries that brings together expertise across agencies and labs. And very importantly is kind of the in-country work. And really most importantly, that's where it all happens. So working with you as leading technical institutes and with your governments and helping support bringing together the key stakeholders, and with coordination provided by US aid missions and our embassies, our posts in countries that bring together collaboration and assistance. I just want to say a word about our technical programs team, who will be a kind of primary counterpart for you and the other modelers and analysts in your country, led by Nan and Clarice, but and supported by expertise across the labs. The first technical team that we've established is to work together with you is this energy system-wide pathway and analysis team that has experts across multiple labs that have deep expertise on energy system modeling, and we'll be working together with you as we identify your needs for support to figure out how we can help you overcome the data and modeling challenges and analytic and stakeholder engagement challenges as well that you may face in deepening analysis of net zero pathways and having that inform implementation and investment plans. And this team there's a little bit of an elaboration. So this team will work really in 3 areas. One is to identify best-in-class tools that are available not only from the labs, but also across the US government and international and US research institutes that align with your priorities, and make those available to you to help strengthen analysis that you're doing and help you adapt and refine the data and tools that you're applying. Also to work together with you to figure out, are there new analytic methods or approaches and innovations in both analysis and implementation that will be a benefit to your country that we can pilot, and across countries that we can pilot together. And this will also bring in experiences from working in states and communities in the US. And then third, to work together as we're launching here at this workshop on joint training activities and peer learning to promote knowledge sharing and replication of the work that we do with you, and also to share that knowledge with other countries and partners around the world and in each region. And this will include opportunities to come visit the labs, both short and long term. We're really excited. We'll have an actual physical space, and that's our World Action Center at NREL. And very glad to offer the opportunity to come spend time here and to visit the other labs as well, to learn and work together on modeling and also on technical solutions and actions. And we have also a robust set of country coordinators that are across labs will kind of be the lead point of interface. Several of those country coordinators are on the call and in this workshop here. And these are folks who will be kind of primary interface overall for all of the government folks and the university and technical institutions working in the countries to help work together to define priorities, to mobilize support, and to ensure that the actions, the assistance that we're providing is fully aligned with the interests and needs of the country, and working very closely then with the technical teams to deliver the assistance on the modeling and the technical measures. And it's this is a really outstanding group of leaders with deep expertise in the countries that will complement the expertise coming through our technical teams. And just finally, I know Clarice and Gunter will elaborate on this more towards the end of the workshop, but just to give you a little bit of a sense of where this is headed, we have our workshop the next couple days. We plan to follow that up with this individual discussions with you for deeper knowledge of what are the modeling and data challenges that you're facing, and what kind of support can we provide that'll be of most value to you. So please get your questions and your thoughts ready in terms of how we can be of most assistance to you, and have a real clear plan for work we'll do both in the short term and the longer term, and then leading to ongoing monthly dialogues and an in-person workshop in September. And as I noted, Clarice will elaborate on this more later in the workshop, but wanted to give you a sense of where we're all headed and the journey we're on together. And I'll end here. We're very glad if time allows to take questions and comments. And please, throughout this workshop and after, please let us know how we can be of most value to you in supporting the critical analysis work that you're doing on net zero pathways. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron, for this great introduction and overview of the Net Zero World Initiative and the Action Center and the activities planned going forward. So let me just remind you, if you have questions for Ron, just submit them in the chat function that you can access with the icon at the bottom, and then enter your questions on the sidebar. We'll take the questions at the end of the session. And so now I would like to turn it over to our next speaker, and I'm excited to introduce Mario Tott. Is an energy systems analyst in the capacity building unit with the International Atomic Energy Agency's Planning and Economic Studies section. Mario has many years of experience in training and capacity building of long-term energy systems models in many countries around the world. We're delighted to have him here with us today. Mario, so if you're online, I can see you. Go ahead, turn your microphone on and share your screen to start your presentation. Thank you, Mario.
Thanks, Gunter, for this introduction. And I do hope that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see the screen. Yes, you're good to go.
Thanks, and hello to everyone, wherever you are. It has been said that agency is providing capacity building for energy planning for already several decades. And I would say there are historical reasons why we are engaged in this type of support. But the main thing that differentiates maybe our agency from some other capacity building or support programs is that we are always trying to transfer skills, knowledge, tools, so that in the end, countries, member states have full ownership over the process, and that they can then use these tools, knowledge, and skills to assess their own energy development strategies. And with this, they can support decision and policy making. How this is implemented? It is implemented through Planning and Economic Studies section, which is a section in Department of Nuclear Energy, and it is composed of 2 units. One unit that I represent today here is Planning and Capacity Building Unit, and there is another so-called 3E analysis, Energy and Economy Environment unit. Planning and Capacity Building Unit is responsible for development of energy system analysis tools and for provision of capacity building and technical assistance in elaboration of sustainable energy strategies. When we refer to capacity building for energy system assessment, for us, it has several components. This is development of analytical tools and methodologies, design of various types of trainings, and continuous support to tool users. Then information dissemination of nuclear and other technologies and energy and economic trends in the world, and also technical assistance for creation or compilation of energy studies through application of our tools or some other tools that are available at member states. Our capacity building program is organized around our own suite of tools, and these tools presented on the screen are following certain steps in energy planning, from identification of data for energy planning, compilation of appropriate energy and other statistics and energy balances, monitoring of indicators, through identification of needs, development of energy demand analysis and projections, to supply, assessment of environmental impacts, analysis of viability of various energy and power generation projects, to quantification of main macroeconomic effects of energy strategies. We have also several so-called frameworks. So these frameworks are in fact concepts and sets of methodologies and approaches that are used to analyze various aspects of energy system. And for implementation of these frameworks, we can use either tools provided by the agency or tools that are provided through some other mechanisms. These frameworks are climate, land, energy, and water nexus, indicators of sustainable energy development, and strategic environmental assessment of national nuclear power program. Here I have to say that our tools are technology agnostic. So the only concept that explicitly mentions nuclear power is related to strategic environmental assessment, but all other tools are practically applicable independent of country or area size, level of economic development, or availability of various sources or resources to be used. So for us, if we look at the structure of the IAEA membership, we have 173 countries with membership. 32 countries are using nuclear power actively, 30 more countries are interested to use, but we have many other clients that are interested in energy planning, and this is where we are focusing our effort. So using or not using nuclear power, looking or not looking into nuclear power, you always need to consider your energy options, and you have to plan your energy future. Because we have our own set of tools, we can independently implement our capacity building programs. Our tools are constantly in development, so we use up-to-date methodologies. We have a very elaborate technical cooperation program through which we provide this support. And then even out of this technical cooperation program, which is project-based, we have mechanisms to provide support in use of our tools constantly to all member states. If we are looking into the way how we design our capacity building, our main goal is that we keep national team in constant training throughout certain period of time. This period of time is usually 2 years, but it can be longer, 4, 6 years, depending on the demand on the member state side. Keeping national team in constant training, that means that we have designed several types of the trainings. For example, distance learning trainings, which were not initiated during last 2 years of pandemic. We started with distance learning implementation more than a decade ago. We use these online sessions as a preparatory sessions and to shorten field or in-person trainings. Shorten in a sense, make them more effective and really focus on issues that are important for the country instead of learning how to navigate through various energy tools and user interfaces. We organize expert missions where we send external experts that are supporting our capacity building program. They work with national teams for a certain period of time and help them design their energy case studies. We offer advanced trainings and teachers trainings. So among all people that participate in our capacity building program, we identify those that could be future contributors to our program. We offer fellowships, either in our headquarters here in Vienna, in Austria, or we identify suitable regional institutions that could provide training in certain aspects and that use our tools. As I said, we offer continuous support in application of our tools, and our program is supported by a pool of external experts because we are very few here in the section, and in general, people that are working on development of the model and providing this support, we are very few. So without a large pool of external experts, it would be almost impossible to implement such an extensive program. If we compare agency tools to some other tools, either commercially or open source available, we can say that our tools and our capacity building program is complementary to other tools. So we can either apply our tools, start from the scratch, from the zero, or our tools can be used in combination with other tools, meaning that we intentionally, even sometimes, avoid hard linkage between our models so that we allow more flexibility when we come to the field and we work with countries. Because we are owners of these tools and we can distribute them free of charge to member states, that means that we are quite independent and we can control our delivery of capacity building. As I said, we deliver this support to all of our member states, irrespective of which tools are used in a particular country, meaning that if country is already using certain tool, we are not insisting that they switch to our tools, but we try to support them in the use of the tool that is already existing in place. As I said, this support is offered through tailored projects. That means that we work with countries and we developed a project that is suitable to answer each country needs. But we also have several activities in which we can provide quick or ad hoc based support. If we look at the users of, in general, let's say energy system assessment tools, these users range from general public to consulting companies, academia, energy industry, to regulatory agencies, public administration, and international organizations. So therefore, there is a really big demand for various types of tools, and our tools are just small, let's say, part of the tools that are available on the market, that are available for choice of many users that are interested to apply those tools, to analyze different energy futures, and also to create policy or messages for general public, depending on the application of these tools. If we look at the application of tools, we have several publications that witness application of our own tools that were either applied at country level or sub-country level, publications that were produced by other UN or other international agencies. And through these publications, we show how these tools can be applied to develop long-term energy electricity strategies, to analyze energy transition, to estimate total cost of system operation and development, evaluate nationally determined contributions, evaluate various financial and environmental implications of energy projects or energy policies, analyze development of regional and national markets, and so on and so on. It is important to notice that our tools, as I said, are technology agnostic. They do not depend on the area in which you want to apply them. They also do not depend on the level of economic development of a country. So they are quite flexible in application. How we deliver support, as I said, we have technical cooperation department, and they are managing overall capacity building support to member states. Program is member states driven, meaning that countries express their desire to cooperate with the agency in various areas, including energy planning area, and they come with their requests. We help them through several project cycles, design projects, identify their needs, and then design activities that will support fulfillment of those needs and objectives. Technical department is responsible for the implementation. Technical department, that means our section in this case, is responsible for implementation of all trainings and transfer of tools. And we are working with group of national experts or national team, which is composed usually of representatives of various government entities or public utilities. We have different types of projects, national, regional, and interregional, and depending on the type of the project, on the area that this project is covering, we are targeting various topics. Our intervention in this area is not the only intervention that exists out there. So we are necessarily practically cooperating and collaborating and creating partnerships with other international organizations. These partnerships are materialized to provision of tools or exchange of tools and information, joint trainings, meaning that we are jointly trying to design trainings, and we are jointly trying to design even projects in a sense that we are first looking what's available in the country, which other institutions already are intervening or intervened in the past in the country, and we are trying to build upon those bases. We are trying to complement each other when providing country support, and we are also participating in our mutual participation in events. Here I listed just some of the institutions through which we are establishing this type of cooperation, but there are other institutions available as well. And here I would like to stop with my intervention. All of my slides contain additional slides, and each slide is describing application of, is giving a brief description of each tool that was previously presented in one of my slides. So this is for additional information for participants. And of course, I'm staying available for your questions or comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mario. And yes, just as a comment on the last observation, so we will make the all presentation material that is being presented at the workshop, we will make that available on our workshop website at the after the workshop. So you'll get full, you'll get to have Mario's full slide deck included in the appendix. And so at this point, we have some time for questions. And I know there's, let's go to the chat real quick. I know there was a question that was submitted by one of our colleagues from Egypt. And I do see that, Ron, you answered that question, but perhaps not everybody has had the chance to look at the chat and read the exchange. So perhaps you would just maybe just address that question again, just verbally, briefly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, happy to do so, Gunter, and thank you for also the colleague from Egypt for the question. The question was about, I'll just read it. It's reassuring to confirm the modeling work will be linked with specific actions to define investment needs and concrete projects. Please clarify the methods used to track implementation of such action plans and to measure impacts. So we will be working with each country to develop a country-specific work program, a joint document with the governments in each country and the technical experts and then with the U.S. government and our team that specifies both the priorities for the support and the methods, and jointly what metrics and process we should use for tracking results. And so for each activity, we'll identify a set of milestones and identify how we will track progress with those milestones. So milestones related to the joint analysis and pathway development, and milestones with the implementation actions. We will overall as well work with each country to track progress in new investment partnerships and scale of investment. And as noted, that's an essential part of the program to ensure that we are actually delivering value to the countries in unlocking private capital and public finance to meet country priorities. So that will be one kind of key common metric tracked with the countries, and other metrics to be defined on kind of a mutual basis with each country.
Thank you, Ron. There was a question for Mario. So Mario, you presented quite an impressive list of tools and services that is being provided by your section to all the member states of the agency. But for some of our participants who may not be as familiar with the IAEA, could you just elaborate just a little bit of what the process would be for them to engage with you? You mentioned the technical cooperation department, the TC department, and countries would approach them. But what's the process? If somebody wants to engage with you, what is a typical process to get this going?
Thanks, Ginter, and thanks, Clarice, for this question. There are, I would say, two channels. One is very official channel. In each country, we have one focal point, IAEA focal point, which is NLO, or National Liaison Officer. That person is in charge of all communication related to cooperation of member states with country. Usually we receive requests through NLO. NLO communicates with technical cooperation, and then based on the area, technical cooperation will engage technical departments inside the secretariat of the IAEA. Second, and very simple approach is that you send us an email, which was visible on my last thank you slide. On this email, you can approach us directly and you can request access to our tools. Our tools are not available for download on public link because for each request, we want to track where this tool was distributed. But in any case, people are eligible to receive these tools outside of project activities, as I said. So one very official way is to have a project with the agency, but you can always have access to these tools. So all member states can have access to these tools. Regarding the projects, there are participants in this session that are aware of this process. We operate in 2 years cycles. Currently, we are in a cycle that we are receiving project concept notes, that is project requests for cycle of implementation that will start in 2024. So now we are receiving these project concepts, we are developing project designs. After those designs are approved, we go into implementation. But in order not to wait so long, if you want to get access to our tools, you can always approach us, because we have several also sessions that are run independently of technical cooperation. So people can participate in those events and get a grip with our tools and have at least first taste of how it looks to engage into energy modeling.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mario. And Mario will be again presenting on Friday, our day 3, presenting a little more detail of one of the tools that is being provided by the IAEA through its channels for long-term energy studies and decarbonization studies. That's the message model. So I don't see any more questions in the chat, but perhaps one more for Ron, if you don't mind. So Ron, you mentioned in your talk, you sort of mentioned briefly that there may be other technical support activities active in some of the countries, and so what are your thoughts in terms of what the best way might be of leveraging those and coordinating those the net zero world activities with those other activities within those countries?
Yeah, thank you, Gunter. And I think that's a really key point. There is a lot of international cooperation kind of with this set of countries, and so there's a couple mechanisms that we're using to closely coordinate. One is that we have established strong relationships with the managers of the programs who are providing technical assistance. So, for example, with the Energy Transition Council in the UK and the GIZ and German government teams that are providing support, and the multilateral development banks, and we're working to coordinate closely also with IRENA and IEA and IAEA and the international agencies. So one is kind of at the program level, we're identifying and activities that other institutions are conducting and identifying how our work can be complementary to and enhance the work and not duplicative. And then secondly, really is at the country level, working with folks who are participating here and other representatives from the government to understand from the country perspective, how can the Net Zero World Initiative be most additive and have the greatest impact, and link closely, and then of course working through our AID missions and posts and our country coordinators to kind of be the counterpoints to kind of work with donor representatives and international agency representatives active in each country.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ron, and thank you both. So I don't see any more questions. So perhaps we'll just move on. So thank you, Ron and Mario, for those insightful presentations. We certainly appreciate your time and insights and thoughts on this. And then now let's just move on and take a 5-minute coffee break. I know we're a little ahead of the time, 5 minutes or 10 minutes.